Some time ago, I watched Norovo's video where he beat Fort Noxus in 12 days as Fortress, and I found that very intriguing. Norovo makes wonderful videos, which I enjoy a lot, so I figured by using his playthrough as a baseline, this would make for an excellent challenge. Can I beat Fort Noxus in less than 12 days? And if I can, exactly how quickly can I finish it? Let's go right into planning mode for this one. This is a small map, my favorite, with both an overworld and an underground portion. Most of the action is underground, and our main town, Fort Noxus, is surrounded by 3 blue towns. If we lose this town, it's game over. Thankfully, there are 3 decently guarded neutral garrisons protecting this valuable town and starting zone, which buys us some time to build an army of our own. Inside this little zone, there are 2 pre-flagged gold mines, a bunch of assorted resources and chests, as well as a tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 creature dwelling. Additionally, there is a random minor artifact very close by. Fort Noxus also starts with pre-built Town Hall, Magic Guild level 1, and upgraded tier 1, 2 and 3 dwellings, meaning we have a lot to work with. But we can't build a tier 7 dwelling. In the overworld, the only things of note are the resources laying around, and spoiler alert, I won't do a lot in the overworld. We got a need for speed, underground. 2. This scenario starts us off with 2 heroes, one in the overworld and one underground. The underground hero will do all of the hard work taking out blue. But how, you might ask? What is the plan of attack? Well, dear viewer, the plan is to collect as much as possible in the small starting zone as fast as possible. This means going for the minor artifact, getting XP from the chests and learning stone, and recruiting all the creatures from the dwellings, while also building up Fort Noxus in a relevant way. Essentially going in a circle, before exiting the circle through the western garrison, going for the northwestern blue town first. In most of my test runs, I ran into 2 blue heroes along the road, making this path really efficient. After taking the first blue town, I go for the northeastern town, as it's closer than the southern one. And if I get lucky with my secondary skills, I could reach it in 1 day from the northwestern town. After that, I cross my fingers blue won't recruit any heroes to go for any of my unguarded towns, as I go straight for the final blue town. Relatively straightforward? Sure. Until you discover that each of Blue's 3 starting heroes start out with some high-tiered creatures, which could tip the scale in their favor if they beef up one hero instead of spreading their troops out, making my need for a strong army even bigger. So which hero and town am I going for? As Norovo went for Fortress, I decided I wanted to play something else. This time, I just felt like playing Castle. But which Castle hero is best suited for the job? Valeska would be lovely, to take advantage of her archer specialty. She doesn't really have a proper downside, but I just didn't feel like playing her. Christian is always an option, because he's super cool and totally like me, and he has a ballista and he's totally my idol. But it's not my choice either. My choice is the most dapper donut in the world, Sir Mullick, because his specialty is, and I can't stress this enough, overpowered as hell. As even slow units will become moderately fast, and fast units will almost always move first. And trust me, speed is of the utmost importance in these fights. Minor side note, but I'm considering making a rule of not using the same hero more than once, as a main hero at least, which would eventually mean using a lot of the shittier heroes. What do you think? Anyway, Castle, check. Resource bonus, check. Edric? WTF? Unfortunately, in this scenario, your hero of choice starts in the overworld, and I want Mullick underground, so I need to start with someone else. So good old Griffin Boy is my choice. Blue is set as Rampart, purely for the fact that they have a bunch of slow units, and I can take advantage of that. Cynical? Yeah, I know. All set? Let's begin. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and you can now even become a channel member. I immediately head for the closest fight and start resetting, looking for Sir Mullick as a second hero. Skipping past all of the 25 resets, I find our Lord and Savior, Donut Man. Edric will just play in the background for most of this playthrough, picking up resources. Nothing fancy happening on his part. Moloch, however, prepares to move out of the cozy fort by getting 2 royal griffins, upgrading his archers, building a blacksmith, and recruiting a whole nother marksman with the remaining gold. I leave 6 pikemen in town, and then it's time to explore. Experience from this chest lets me get tactics, which is very useful, and then I engage the orcs. Auto combat wins, but I think I can do better. I move the griffins into these 2 spots, the pikemen a bit forward, before I do this little tactics trick. I activate auto combat, which moves the griffins 1 hex forward. This is a bug with 2 hex units in auto combat with tactics, and it comes in very handy as it lets my griffins move all the way in between 2 orc stacks due to the +2 speed from Moloch's specialty. I deactivate auto combat and the fight begins. Griffins move into their designated spots, marksmen hit the bottom orc stack and take them out after getting a nice leadership morale. Pikemen move forward and my top griffin gets absolutely blasted by every orc in range, surviving with a measly 3 HP. Obviously, it moves away, and the second healthier griffin takes its spot. The marksmen and the pikemen start hitting the bottom orc stacks, which attract the top stacks down as well. I don't really care about the pikemen, as they will be dismissed after the fight anyway. After lots and lots of hits back and forth between the pikes and the orcs, I finally get the final hits in from the marksmen, netting me the fight win while only losing 5 pikemen. My reward? Equestrian's gloves. The second best artifact I could have gotten. Boots of speed would have been the best, but oh well. You can't win them all, I guess. Day 2, and we pick up expert tactics from the learning stone, then pick up some gold from the gold piles, and recruit the 7 griffins from the griffin tower, and then the 4 swordsmen from the barracks, and then build a barracks in town. Ending the turn, I can see blue starting to move north on the west side, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Afterwards, I swing by the archers' towers for the 9 archers, get more XP from the chests, which then nets me logistics. Really gonna zoom around the map with this setup. I then do some movement shenanigans to pick up all the resources, taking advantage of the stables I build in town, leaving me with no movement points, and I can make fast, as the pros say. Blue keeps moving in the right spots. I love it. Edric makes a very important pickup, crystals. And I build the only thing I will build in the overworld town, Marketplace. Why are crystals important? Well, to upgrade the barracks, of course. Swordsmen are okay, but the Crusaders, oof, they are incredibly good for a tier 4 creature. I would argue that only Vampire Lords are better. Piss off, Uncle Sandro. I absolutely love Crusaders. I recruit and upgrade everything I can, then start trading away my resources for gold in the marketplace, leaving only 5 wood and 10 crystals. This lets me upgrade the pikemen and recruit some more royal griffins and halberdiers. It's day 4, I have a bajillion movement points, my army is solid. I'd say it's time to go on the offensive. The garrison is guarded by 11 crusaders and 16 griffins. The plans for this fight is quite normal. Try to get as many hits in with the marksman before I need to start going for melee hits. So I bait the stacks north to buy some time. On turn 2 already, I take retaliations on one of the 1 stacks, which lets me move in with my halberdier power stack and my crusaders, leaving only 6 enemy crusaders. Marksman's shots go into the griffins, and my own royal griffins take out 2 more crusaders, and 1 more after a morale. Lucky. And then the next turn, my royal griffins take out 2 more crusaders, and 1 more after a morale. Lucky. I do some quick maths to calculate whether I would lose a crusader to retaliation, and come to the conclusion that they will all live. Swings from the crusaders and shots from the marksmen take out the griffins, and I only lose 1 halberdier through pure fighting skills and no lucky morales whatsoever. Good lord, I'm so good at this game and totally not lucky at all. I move out and immediately see 2 blue guys hanging around. Ares with a few trees is first. Auto manages to lose a griffin, somehow, but I just use the overpowered crusaders and marksmen to chop the trees down. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The Dwarf King, Euphrates the Great, is a bit more difficult. Blue has merged armies onto this guy. Two big problems here. The green dragon and the 8 minotaurs. Not to mention the annoyingly big other stacks. This is a quite difficult fight. Essentially the final boss already. So what's the approach I'm taking here? Have the marksman be as far away from the Minos and dragon as possible, and keep the crusaders alive. Tactics, once again, comes in handy to let me set up my army. After the Minos move forward, I wait with my important units and send one halberdier forward as bait, which Euphrates takes hook, line and sinker. Everything moving down towards it. The dragon eventually takes it out, and I hit his trogs with my griffins, secretly hoping for a morale, before getting into his wood elf's face the next turn. This baits his dragon back. I wait with everything, hoping that something will move into full damage range. And I get rewarded. Everything but the Minos move forward. And after his Minos eventually move forward, his army is very nicely split up. I take retaliation on one of my 1 stacks, and then start hitting the Minos with all I've got, leaving only 3 of them after turn 2. This is an excellent start. I also make sure to not let the dragon get any good breath attacks on my crusaders. Important positioning details there. Griffins moving back invites the dragon forward, and I take out the Minos with my strong crusaders. I love them so much. Before I start laying it into the dragon with my marksman. The halberdier positioning is to hopefully bait the dragon into a weak breath attack, but now Euphrates moves everything he has forward. The dragon doesn't take the bait, so I have to use the crusaders to take it out. Now, the annoying part begins. Hitting all the weak units with all I have left. After a bunch of back and forth, this was a really long fight. I finally take out the final dwarfs left with my now 7 crusaders. What a slog! As this was a fight I did without even having a spellbook, I'm extremely satisfied with the outcome. I hope no super pro players destroy my confidence by pointing out too many mistakes though. Advanced logistics on the level up, and I move for the first blue town, letting Otto take it as it is barely guarded. Then I head straight east for the second town. A pack of swordsmen are in the way. Not too much to this fight, so I'll just give you the cliff notes. Griffins are both bait and retaliation soakers. Crusaders and marksmen do damage. That's about it. Fight finished, 2 griffins lost, on we go. I then take the second barely guarded blue town and pick up expert logistics. I see Clancy with a decent army, which prompts me to build an enchanted spring and recruit the 5 Pegasi. This is why I left 10 crystals when trading earlier, just in case I would need to build just this. Thinking ahead, you know. I also finally buy a spellbook, but my casting stats still suck, so I'll have to rely on might anyway. Clancy, you're up. Otto wins, but I want to fight this out. Griffin's only job now is to protect the cool creatures, while the Pegasi will go for the elves. Let's brawl, Clancy. I wait with everything while the manticores move forward. And look at this. Luck. Twice! I'm so skilled. After he moves everything forward and slows my Pegasi, I magic arrow his manticores, leaving only 2. The next turn, I magic arrow his elves, killing 2 of them. Now, the brawling really begins. He takes out one of my griffins with his manticores, but I hit back with my marksman, before he takes out another griffin using his centaurs, and I take out his manticores in return with my beefy, beautiful crusaders. A morale on my Pegasi makes sure the elves die, and after taking the retaliation on my griffin, a morale on my crusaders makes sure the centaurs die as well. From here, it's smooth sailing. After kiting his slow noob units around for a bit, slowly whittling them down, Clancy is history. Another fight totally devoid of luck on my part. I deserve to pat myself on the back for that one. Blue shouldn't have any more heroes left, so on day 6, I speed down towards the final town, finding it completely empty and unguarded. Maybe there's a hero somewhere? After walking into the town, I get my answer. Blue is vanquished. Victory is mine. In 6 days. Not shabby. Not shabby at all. 448 score and Archangel rank. Don't mind if I do. Fort Noxus, supposed to be this defensive wall and impenetrable fortress, is protected by a good offense, proving once again that the best defense is a good offense. I'm very happy to have beaten Norovo in a contest he has no idea even exists, and that only I'm participating in. So ha! Take that! Nah. I'm happy I found this channel years ago and got the inspiration to play this map from him. I hope you have found the inspiration to like, comment and subscribe, maybe even become a channel member. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I sure did, and I hope to see you again next week. Have a might and magically wonderful day. A special thank you to my channel members, Ownerfry, Matt Age and Milkman. I appreciate you a lot.